they make a great play or stop them in the backfield. Good open field tackling, which I haven't seen from USC in what, 5 years. It's a long time since you could see them first man, first hit takes the receiver down or takes the running back down. That was real. I'm sure the USC fans are happy to see a defense actually show up like that. And the offense didn't miss a beat. So that game for me, that's to me the perfect game. I can't actually see a game more interesting or more fun to watch. The enjoyment factor for me watching offenses that are actually capable of exploding at any moment, but then watching defenses be able to tighten down when they need to, or get a big tackle for a loss, or create some havoc when they need to. Everything there was that was just pure entertainment. I'd pick that game over and over again. If I don't care who's playing, I want it to look like that.
Yeah, no, it was a great game. It was super entertaining. Now, you've made comments before how you're not necessarily a huge fan of the neutral site games, but that was a good venue, and both crowds were into it, and I thought it didn't take anything away from that game.
No, actually, I'll kind of flip on that, and I really enjoy the fact that the crowd's always going no matter who's on offense, because it gets quiet in a home state. I actually kind of like the crowds going nonstop. And I had that thought watching the game, like, oh, maybe these neutral site games aren't that bad. Like this was pretty wild watching that game.
Well, that's a good typical fan. I can change my opinion. So this is how I felt before, but that was a great game. And so, yeah, you're definitely allowed to do that. I still had Notre Dame, Texas A&M. Like I had both those games ranked as my top ones from the weekend. It's because it was a little bit poor execution probably in the Notre Dame Texas A&M, but it's week one, so they're not super smooth yet on the defense is a little bit ahead of the offense, and which is fine. But that game was very entertaining. It came down to the end. Both teams were very good. It's a great environment there at Texas A&M. And but for Notre Dame to win it, that was a great game, and that was, the QB for Notre Dame I think is going to get better because this is the first year there, and that's going to just improve the relationship with the receivers and stuff as it goes on. But that was a great game, good, excellent defense too, and so I like that game a lot.
Yeah, to me that was the other highlight game of the weekend, and totally contrasting styles to the USC LSU game. The Notre Dame A&M game, both quarterbacks are limited compared to what we saw with USC and LSU. It's clear they just don't have all the tools the way those guys have. Specifically the running game on both of those teams was the highlight of the game for me. And I remember mentioning this to you, it's like, oh, that's kind of fun to actually see a game that's dominated by the lines. It's just a different style of game, like altogether. And you don't necessarily, for me, that was pretty fun to watch too, just watching it just trenches the whole way through. And I just kept thinking, man, these defensive lines are good. And eventually the Notre Dame offensive line finally found some push in the second half. But you're not getting any explosive downfield passing plays out of that game at all. And but I was perfectly happy watching that style of game. And it was fun to watch, just not quite as exciting as the USC LSU game for me, but it was for sure up there as the other best game of the weekend for me.
Yeah, and it's a good point about the defensive lines. The one that I enjoyed watching the most this week was at Clemson, because that defensive line was great.